All right, founders, it is time for another pitch deck critique week in review. And this week, I'm excited to tell you that I have rejected 3 pitch decks, and they're basically pre-seed decks, I believe. But I have accepted 2 pitch decks. 2. And I've accepted them to go to the next level in terms of Startups.com accelerator and socializing them and helping these founders get to that next level so they can be funded. And I'll explain a little bit on how I did that as we go along. Before we continue, my name is Ed Kang, 7-time funded founder with 2 exits. Just a fancy way of saying I failed a bunch of times, and that's to your benefit because especially for early stage founders raising pre-seed and seed, I have made a ton of mistakes, and I want you to learn from those mistakes and avoid some of the catastrophic failures that I've fallen into. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer for Startups.com. I've been the General Partner for Late Stage Accelerator Fund, and I'm a General Partner for Venture Studio, so I've been around. And what I do all week is I allow YouTube subscribers to send me their pitch decks, and I figure out what feedback that they need to move that along, and the ones that are compelling, I bring into my own startup ecosystem, my own accelerator, all the models, and I provide all the advice and support necessary to get them next level so that they can get funded or bootstrap their way to glory. If you are a founder out there and you want your own pitch deck critiqued and reviewed, all you have to do is stay till the end of the video, and I will tell you how to get that done. We have so many requests coming in that I need to explain to you a process on how you can get your pitch deck critiqued and reviewed and join us in our community. With that being said, if you are here, part of Startups.com, thank you for joining me here. Your support is always welcome. Everybody, do me a favor, leave a like, comment, and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Let's jump into these pitch decks. The first pitch deck is Party Now, a marketplace that lets groups ride a party bus on demand. I like the fact that it's very straightforward. I know it's a marketplace, and I know it's about party buses on demand, so I'm thinking it's like Uber for party buses. Here's where we immediately encounter issues on the first slide. We start off with an insight slide. It should be a problem slide, and it says here, groups want to travel and have fun together. Okay, that's kind of a given. That's not an insight for me. So immediately we're starting off on the wrong foot. Then we get to a problem, and there's no problem statement. It just says difficult, availability, price. I don't understand what is difficult, what are we having an issue with in terms of availability, and what's the price? Customers must contact, submit info to many providers. Which providers? The bars? I don't understand. Availability, weeks, months, customers pay a minimum hours, rental fee. This does not make any sense. So you're losing me. The solution is the same way. Now it's convenient, accessible, and affordable. What is convenient and accessible and affordable? You are not helping. Provider benefit, I don't even know who the providers are. Are they the ones with the bus? Do independent drivers with these buses connect with party locations like bars and restaurants? It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, and therefore you've lost me. Market validation, as we continue, you have a top-down market size, and the business models there, Los Angeles. This deck is so sparse that there really isn't anything to review here. I've sent feedback to this founder. I'm going to ask them to try again. Next slide deck that was rejected for a review is a Fintech project for the global financial market, Sevens Tree Global. The problem, 80% of traders lose their entire capital under a year in the global financial market. I like the simplicity of it, and I like the bullet points, but what I asked the founder to do is explain and define what trader is, because that's a broad term. Are we talking about retail traders sitting at home, first-time traders, casual traders, traders who have full-time jobs and just plunk $1,000 down? Helping define the term trader will go a long way for investors. Then we get to the solution, and here's my big issue. Advanced trading program created with artificial intelligence and machine learning with high priority on risk management and consistent wealth. The problem with this is it doesn't solve the problem. And I'll explain. And this is something that all of you founders should really understand. I say this over and over again. If your problem is that something is slow and manual, your solution needs to be the fact it is fast and automated. Same thing. If it's expensive, it needs to be cheap. So you see where I'm going here. If the problem this startup is trying to solve is that 80% of traders lose their money, then the solution needs to explain how this program saves traders money. Now, I understand the founder might be thinking, but Ed, this is an AI thing with priority on risk management, consistent wealth creation, but I don't see it solving the problem necessarily. This could be something that goes into any savings program. It doesn't actually explain trading, because we're talking something generic like consistent wealth creation. Well, now you can talk about generic markets and generic problems. And so I'm wondering if this is a solution looking for a problem. We need to go from problem to solution. It's the reason they call it problem solution fit. Start with the problem. So if your problem is one thing, make sure it solves it in the inverse, reverses that problem, and creates a happy conclusion, happily ever after, as far as your solution statement is concerned. So immediately after the problem solution is confusing, the rest of the deck will naturally become confusing. We look at the vision. We don't need a vision slide here. We have phase one, and look at all this inside language. Fintech as a service. We never said fintech as a service before. This is for traders. How is that fintech a service? Automated trading algo. What does that mean? 60% I, live command center? I have no idea. You're making the cardinal sin of assuming the person reading this deck is qualified, has domain expertise and knowledge of the actual industry, and that is wrong. Now we get to phase two, fintech as a product. That's like an inside kitschy slogan thing, like innovation, synergy, revolutionize. Fintech as a service and then fintech as a product. Isn't it all a product? These are the things that are racing through my head. Automated trading algorithm, 90% AI. How is that any different whatsoever? So these slides are confusing. Product validation, all this inside stuff, tested the product for 15 years, market data for 4 years of live market environment. What does that actually mean? All those logos, what do they mean? Market size, too much information. I don't understand how much money you could be making. The only thing that potentially stands out for me is you got 200 million total assets under management within 2 years. Well, how much money does that represent? 200 million total assets under management. And the founder might be sitting here saying, Ed, you are so dumb. You do not understand what we're trying to build. Yeah, exactly, because this pitch deck is not helping me. And I know I'm being crass and a bit facetious here, but that's the stuff that goes through an investor's head, and you'd rather bomb and fail and get the tough love from me than bomb and fail in front of an investor. Now you got revenue model. I don't understand the revenue model. Just explain to me how you make money. And the competition, the issue I have here is you basically say existing algo-based trading technology and systems in the market, sell a software product platform, leaving the risk reward to the end client. Majority of them are not regulated. You've just created a blanket statement which does not help, and then you create a why us. That's not saying how you've addressed the competition. It's not saying what you learn, what you know about the competition. You're basically just talking about, hey, this is how great we are, which should go on a completely other slide. If you're going to do a competition slide, actually study the competition and show me what you've learned about them. We get into the structure. We don't need this structure right here in this pitch deck, especially if you're doing a screener deck, an introductory deck, and then traction. What you've done is you've actually created just really big numbers. So let me show you how this breaks down. You got 45 investors, 2020 to 2023. I don't know if those investors have actually validated your product or not. What traction? How much percent money have they actually saved through this whole thing? Over 50 clients under discussion stages. So think about this for just a moment, everyone. If we are going through validation stage of 20 to 2023, and we have 45 investors, and you're telling me for 3 years, you only got over 50 clients, which is ambiguous as it is, 50 clients under discussion stages to onboard within 3 months of launch, what is the time frame on that? Now, you might be thinking, but Ed, we got all those 50 clients just in the last week after we released our 3 years of studies. Okay, then tell me that. That's the reason you want like a little growth graph, which I will show you some other founders have done. And that's going to put you on better footing to understand what your traction actually is. Right now, it's so ambiguous. And then the ask, this is way too complicated as well. Now let's move into the next app, which is more like a B2B logistics supply chain fintechy app. If you go right to the problem, I don't need big problem slides. That's just an extra slide you don't have to have. Fragmentation, underutilization, lack of visibility, manual processes create inefficiencies and higher costs throughout the supply chain. Now you've got here a problem statement that's so broad, so generic that I'm completely lost. And then I look at these numbers and I don't know how they relate to the actual problem statement. 32 million retail businesses across Africa and growing. Do they all have this problem? Is that what you're saying? Less than 3% of African retail businesses utilize digital platforms and payments. But is that for every possible digital platform for payments? Or is it just businesses that experience your problem? So are you saying that 97% of the 32 million businesses suffer from this problem? It's not clear. And over 90% still haven't found appropriate digital solutions. Appropriate digital solutions for what? For this problem, which is too broad and too wide. You see how my mind is going all over the place. There's no focus here, and now I'm completely lost, and that's going to affect the rest of the deck. Then we give it a big solution slide. And then digitizing retail, I'm not even going to this because it's not solving the problem. You've got an ecosystem, payments, logistics network, B2B network. This is so broad and this is so wide, and it's got paragraphs of text that I'm not going to read. If it was just one of these paragraphs, let's say it was just this, affordable solution that helps businesses digitize and manage their business and orders under understand their revenue, and finally sell and source goods with ease. Okay, this looks like an ERP solution. So then your problem was supposed to be that a lot of businesses can't afford to digitally take and manage their orders. They don't understand their revenue and they have a really hard time. Therefore, our solution does exactly what they need to solve that problem. But what is the rest of all this going on here? This is a big issue. So I've told the founder, you need to narrow everything down and start to clarify things with a focus. Our unique selling points doesn't help. Why now? Paragraph doesn't help. The product. This is way too confusing. How you fix these types of slides is you just have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps, 6 steps max, which is like a storyboard and goes from beginning to end, celebrating the outcome. This is a flow chart, and I'm never going to understand. You're assuming that I have technical knowledge, or are you going to spend the time to look at something like this? Market size, this is top down, business model. And then you got a quote which confuses more. You're saying African retail trends are some of the fastest changing due to diverse cultural groups and a young population who embrace technology. What does that mean? Is that to do with supply chain, logistics, ERP, digital orders, e-commerce? I'm lost. The competition, competitor analysis, no competitors actually listed here. This is a little better, but I don't know any of these competitors other than, let's see, Shopify. You're just showing me the user base and how it breaks down, but how did you actually grow? What are they doing? And then the ask right here, you're highlighting the fun in funding. There's no fun in funding, everyone. I know we want to put fun in funding, but don't try to be clever like this. Too much text in terms of the paragraph. This is going to be okay, but let's simplify this slide and make it straightforward. Don't be clever, just get straight to the point. Now let's look at a deck that I did accept. I'm going to scan through this deck and I'm going to show you my reasoning behind this. This deck has been accepted to go to the next round for me simply because of the email introduction. This was pretty fantastic as far as the email. It had enough detail and it gave me the bullet points and highlighted, and I knew what I was going to get into as soon as I saw this deck. But it was compelling because it's very timely, and the way that the founder introduced themselves and saying, we're jumping on this big trend that's happening right now in terms of computer chips and brains and enhancing, and I think investors are going to be interested as well. Now, as soon as I look at this cover page, it says focus sensing earbuds that turn productivity into a game. It's compelling. Right away, this cover page alone helped me, not to mention the fact that I've got a picture of the product. And I know it's a picture of the product because that's what they explained to me. I was set up to expect this. So this is very, very cool stuff, and I'm interested. Now, for the rest of the deck, it's way too much. It's way too confusing. I'll let you know right now, but I'm starting off on a good foot. But at least it's organized in a way that I can scan through it. So I see that students, professionals, 3 hours daily. Great. Declining U.S. productivity, 63% workers ready to quit their jobs. Not all relevant, but okay, you are telling me there's an era full of distractions. I'm resonating with it. Entering the minds of young professionals and students, all these interviews, these charts, I just skimmed through this. It's hard to get work done even when it matters. Here's the lesson I want all of you founders to learn here. If you have a good headline for a slide and everything else supports that, that headline alone will cover any weaknesses in the rest of the slide. Even though the rest of the slide may not be as good, the headline helps me anchor, and I'm very forgiving for the rest of the slide. In this case, I don't need to see all of this. I like the headline so much, I go, okay, I'm compelled. I'm going to keep reading. Current solutions fail to address the root of the problem. You don't have to say this. You could have pointed this out in the single problem slide and then the solution. What if earbuds can boost your productivity? I'm being compelled here. And then the team, look at all the logos, the social proof there. This team could definitely be improved, but I like this team already. And patent pending earbuds, brainwaves. You had me at brainwave, and then you got me at data to our deep work app. To me, this is a fantastic how it works slide. Step 1, step 2, step 3. See how simple that is? Just to show what this product can do in a simple 1, 2, 3 step. And then I'd add a step 4 in terms of how productivity increases. This is the promise. This is the outcome that we're going to celebrate. And then so productivity goes up. That's how I'd improve this slide. But I pretty much get it at this moment in time. Remember, I am forgiving so far because I'm excited about what's presented so far. Then we got brainwaves. All right. Showing me the different. This is more how it works. Now look at this headline. Our personalized recommendations help 90% of users finish work sessions on time, and 75% of users feel less stressed while working. The fact that you've given me actual numbers is compelling to me, and screenshots of the app actually measuring. This is turning out to be a very interesting story. Our communities enable like-minded individuals. Now we got a community, got a bit of go-to-market strategy going here. I like it. With Naira, Jack and others won at the game of productivity. Okay, this is a user case. develop some empathy. I get it. I didn't really look at this slide and go, okay, but I recognize all the logos and everything. I see what they're trying to get at here. The market, this is a top-down market. This really bugs me. We're going to fix this. You saying that you're planning to capture 2% of a $40 billion market, that is not your total addressable market. Bad, bad, bad. But remember, I'm in a real forgiving mood because I'm excited about this startup. B2C revenue stream, this is how we make money. I get it. You don't have to give me all the details, but I like the fact that you got 3 tiers. And then from the lab to 23 waitlisted users with 11 pending patents. This is traction, everyone. All right. It could be improved if you actually showed how much your user waitlist is growing and what you're doing to get those users, but that's okay. This is very impressive because I can see launching a very cool crowdfunding campaign. And look, everyone, it's got prototype pictures. I love to see it. Then there's more traction featured in 60 plus articles. Fantastic. Social proof. TechCrunch is a nice touch. I like it a lot. Market strategy. All right. Glossing over that right now because it's kind of generic. Revenue projections. Don't believe in this stuff anyway. You don't have to put it there. Invest early in the future of productivity and BCI. Okay. This is kind of there. I like how detailed it is, but I'm glossing over it. And then we've got the contact slide. This is a really great lesson for you founders out there. If your pitch deck starts good, and it is only 80% good, but that 80% is absolutely fantastic. Believe me, investors will be interested. Investors that are smart enough to read between the lines will create their own narrative and kind of get excited about this, which I've gotten excited about this particular product right here. So here's what we're going to do. I sent back questions, and then I'm going to help this founder break down their slide to present it. I already have investors in mind because we do investor relations every single day here at startups.com. So I'm going to try and package this founder up and see if I can get them over the hump. On top of which, they told me this great story, how they already got a commitment from a fund for a good chunk of money. I think $1.2 million, something like that, but it fell through because of the market conditions. And that's the issue, what's going on right here. So we have to make sure that we continue to help this startup gain the traction, get to those inflection points, and then communicate that to the investors. And that's the playbook that I'm looking for. Kudos to this founder for everything they've done so far and all the hard work. And I totally look forward to how we can work together. We got one more deck to go, and this one is an improvement as well. I think you're going to like it. Rentech is a startup that I critiqued and reviewed their deck in the beginning stage when I was doing these things. I was happy to see major improvements, helping Latin Americans improve cash flow by splitting their rent. Fabulous. I dig it. Problem slide first. The struggle of Latin Americans to afford rent directly impacts their cash flow. Rent represents 35 to 60% of their monthly income, biweekly salary, rising rent costs. I dig it. The only feedback that I wanted from this founder was tell me how many Latin Americans you project struggle with this. It's important to show the size, severity of the problem so the investor goes, this is a big problem. If this is in the millions of users and $1 billion industry, we are talking salivating investors, FOMO, they're getting ready for a nice opportunity. Solution, we help tenants improve their cash flow by splitting their rent into 2 payments. 2 risk models are used to select users, behavior and credit. I asked the founders in the beginning to explain to me because I immediately saw the risk in terms of lending out cash to renters. The product, pretty much straightforward, standard, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps. Now we get to the market slide. And we have a TAM calculation that's starting right here. But I want the founder to change this market slide because I need to put this on one slide to be able to show to my associates and to know which investors we're even going to go for. So you got TAM, you want 140 million active renters times what amount? How much are they going to pay equals your TAM. We need to add a market size in terms of actual potential revenue to this TAM calculation. Now, what the founder did is they broke the SAM down into another slide. You don't have to do this. You really don't want to do this. But let's just say SAM rented houses in Mexico. So then you're thinking 3.6 million have the difficulty to pay 576 million USD average ARR. All right, I just need to know the math calculations. How much are they going to pay? And then that gets us to 576 million average ARR. This TAM SAM is bottom up, which is fantastic. You get an A- on this, but we got to get it to an A+, and that's how we're going to work together. The competitor slide is improved because last time I didn't know who these competitors were, and now we've explained them. Splitting rent and microloans in Mexico. I appreciate this. Monthly business model, how we make money. I finally understand it's a subscription, and then there's an inscription fee, and there's interest payments. This could be explained a little better, but it's enough for me to understand we actually have a business model here. Traction. Everybody, you see how this is broken up? It's actually got a traction graph to it. That's so important. We've got growth this way. We've got 3, 7, 12, 16, and we've got some numbers. Now, here's the thing. It's not impressive as far as numbers are concerned. So I've asked some questions. How did you get this traction, and how could we supercharge it? This is going to be an important conversation to show investors. But the fact that we got this broken down, and I see that you've got 4 months where you're growing, very, very important. And one more thing, I appreciate that we got 0% churn over 4 months. This is going to show us, hey, this might be a very sticky product. If we can continue analyzing the churn and get these metrics out there, that's fantastic. So these founders know what metrics to measure that aren't vanity metrics, that are metrics that investors want to look at. We can push this a little further, but like I said, great start. Customer experience, social proof, dig it. Here's the team, has greatly improved, good logos there. And the investment round here, which we can simplify even further, but there you have it. I think that was pretty successful, all things considered. What you don't see out there are the number of pitch decks that come to me and I send back and I tell them I need to see it this way, and they never get back to me. They send it once, and I can tell that some of these founders really haven't put in the work. So that's why I create a little bit of friction to make it tough to see who's going to get through the gauntlet, if you will, to get to the point where I can know how to focus my attention, where I can prioritize, because I want to help all the founders out there. And there's so many of you that contact me, but I don't know which ones and where to put my energies. And this is helping me. And so we're developing this process. That being said, if you are a founder out there and you want your own pitch deck critiqued and reviewed, all you have to do is leave a comment, but you have to leave me a pitch. Give me a one-liner of what you're building, and I'll just be very straightforward. If it's something that I think I can help, I'll tell you what to do, where to send it, and then we'll go back and forth by email, and I will be an advisor to you by email. And then if you get to a certain point, we'll review your pitch deck online, and then I'll start to invite you and add you to the other resources. Or you can just jump the line and join me at startups.com, which many of you founders have done. And I really appreciate seeing my YouTube subscribers live in our startups.com community. If you join startups.com and you take the risk with me, I will definitely make it worth your while, and I'll start helping you right away. That's it for this one. I will see you in the next pitch deck critique week in review.